Welcome back to Vintage Car Chronicles, your daily dose of classic car goodness. You can find us on Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, and YouTube. Now, today we're going deep on a true icon of 1980s rallying, the MG Metro 6R4. Now, you might be thinking, a Metro and a rally.
Right, a Metro.
But trust me, this is no ordinary city car.
Oh, absolutely not.
If it-
This little beast was purpose-built to take on the legendary Group B rally, a time when cars were basically rockets on wheels blasting through forests and deserts.
Yeah, and we've got a mountain of sources for you today. Articles, tech specs, historical accounts, all painting a picture of a car that defied expectations. So where do we even begin with this one?
Well, I think you got to start with the name, 6R4,
Right.
six-cylinder rally, four-wheel drive. Right off the bat, they were signaling this wasn't your grandma's grocery getter.
No, definitely not your grandma's car. But it was based on the humble Metro, right? How much of that original car actually carried over?
Very, very little. It shared the name, and, funnily enough, they kept the steel doors from the original Metro, although they were concealed beneath the bodywork. But underneath that fiberglass shell was a completely different animal.
So they basically took the Metro, ripped out its insides, and built a rally car from the ground up.
Exactly, that's a good way to put it.
And we've got Williams Grand Prix Engineering to thank for that, right? The same team that was dominating Formula One at the time.
That's right, yeah. I mean, imagine the brainpower they brought to this project. We're talking about Patrick Head, John Davenport legends in the world of motorsport, and their influence is all over the 6R4.
Wow. Okay, so we've got an F1 pedigree, a name that hints at power, and a tiny car as the starting point. What else makes this thing tick?
Well, let's talk about the engine. This is where the 6R4 really throws a curveball. While its Group B rivals were going turbocharged, the 6R4 stuck with a naturally aspirated 3-liter V6.
Really? No turbo in the era of boost. That seems like a bold choice. What was the thinking there?
I think they wanted a car that was all about responsiveness and agility. The engine was designed by David Wood, who, by the way, worked on the legendary Cosworth DFE, so no slouch there, and he knew a naturally aspirated engine would give the driver instant power and braking, which was crucial for those tight rally stages.
Oh, yeah. So they were prioritizing feel and control over just brute horsepower.
Exactly. They wanted a driver's car, something that felt alive in your hands, and to achieve that, they made another radical decision. They mounted the engine backwards in the car with the gearbox in the middle.
Backwards. Okay, now I'm picturing this thing driving in reverse all the time.
No, not quite. Think of it this way. The front of the engine was basically facing the rear hatch. It was all about weight distribution. By putting the heavy engine in the middle and low down, they created a car that was incredibly balanced and agile.
Interesting.
Yeah, it made the 6R4 very nimble and responsive, especially on those twisty rally stages where a quick change of direction could make all the difference.
So this wasn't just some cobbled-together project. There was real thought behind every design choice.
Absolutely, yeah. And they didn't stop there. To get the most out of this unique layout, they created a bespoke 4WD system with a unique rear differential placement, maximizing traction. Everything was about maximizing performance.
Wow.
And speaking of maximizing, they went to town on keeping the weight down. Lots of fiberglass in the bodywork, aluminum roof panels. They even used lightweight magnesium for the gearbox casing.
Sounds like they were obsessed with shedding every ounce. But a lightweight car needs a powerful heart. How did they make sure the 6R4 packed a punch?
Well, they had two versions, the road-going Clubman version, which had around 250 horsepower, and the Rally Spec International, which cranked things up to over 410 horsepower.
Wow, over 400 horsepower in a car that probably weighs less than a modern hatchback. That's a serious power-to-weight ratio.
Oh, absolutely. This thing was a rocket. But of course, they needed to build those road cars for homologation. Remember, Group B required manufacturers to produce at least 200 street-legal versions of their rally cars.
Yeah, I can imagine that was quite a feat, considering how unique and complex the 6R4 was. Did they manage to meet the deadline?
They did, but it was a close call. They scrambled to get those 200 Clubman versions built, finally hitting the deadline in November of 1985.
Just in time to make its competitive debut at the RAC Rally that same year, right?
You got it.
And what a debut it was.
That's a good one.
Driven by Tony Pond. The 6R4 snagged a very respectable third place, finishing behind only two Lancia Delta S4s. Remember, this was the 6R4's first time out in the big leagues. And it was already showing serious potential.
Yeah, it was a good showing, for sure.
It's incredible to think that this little Metro-based car was mixing it up with the best rally cars in the world. It must have been a proud moment for the team.
Oh, absolutely. They'd poured their hearts and souls into this project, and to see it performing so well right out of the gate was a real validation of their efforts.
But as we know, the 6R4's time in the spotlight was relatively short-lived. What were some of the challenges it faced?
Well, despite their initial faith and natural aspiration, those turbocharged rivals were getting faster and faster. The 6R4 started to struggle to keep up in the horsepower wars. It was like an arms race. And the 6R4, with its unique engine choice, was starting to fall behind.
So even with all that clever engineering, they couldn't quite keep up with the raw power of the turbocharged competition.
Yeah, that's right. The 6R4 also had its share of reliability issues. Especially with the engine, it was a complex beast. And keeping it running at peak performance proved to be a challenge.
And then, of course, there was the tragic end of Group B in 1986. A series of fatal accidents led to its cancellation, which abruptly cut short the careers of many iconic rally cars, including the 6R4.
It was a dark time for rallying, and the 6R4 story in the World Rally Championship ended before it really had a chance to flourish. But, as we'll see, the 6R4 story didn't end there.
This feels like the end of Chapter 1 for the 6R4. But clearly there's a lot more to this story. We'll be back with Part 2, diving deeper into the 6R4's legacy, so make sure you tune in for that. All right, we're back, ready to continue our deep dive into the MG Metro 6R4. Last time, we left off with the demise of Group B rallying, which, sadly, cut short the 6R4's time on the world stage.
Yeah, it did. It was a premature end to what could have been a very successful career in the WRC. But motorsport rarely follows a straight line, and the 6R4 story was far from over.
Right. Our sources point out that it found a second life in other forms of racing, particularly rallycross.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense when you consider the car's strengths. Compact size, that punchy engine, incredible agility made it perfectly suited for the shorter, more technical rallycross circuits.
It's almost like it was designed for rallycross all along.
In some ways, yes. And it's fascinating to see how it fared against other Group B refugees that also found a new home in rallycross. Think Audi Quattro, Peugeot 205 T16, Ford RS200. These were the titans of the era.
So the 6R4 was going up against some serious competition, even in its retirement. How did it hold up?
Surprisingly well. It may not have had the outright power of some of those turbocharged behemoths, but the 6R4 more than held its own on those tighter circuits. Its nimbleness and responsive handling allowed it to really shine.
Our sources specifically mention Will Gollop and his success with the 6R4 in rallycross.
Will Gollop, a true master of rallycross. He really pushed the 6R4 to its limits, even experimenting with turbocharging that V6 engine. He managed to extract some pretty incredible power figures from that little engine.
Talk about pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
So even though Group B was gone, the 6R4 was still being developed and refined in the crucible of competition.
Exactly. And it wasn't just confined to professional racing either. The 6R4 became incredibly popular in national rally championships all over the world.
It was a bit of a stepping stone for aspiring rally drivers, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cut your teeth on a 6R4, prove your skills, and then maybe move up to something even more extreme.
You hit the nail on the head. And the 6R4 was perfect for privateer teams and drivers who might not have had the deep pockets of factory-backed outfits.
Right, because those road-going clubman versions they had to build for homologation, those were the basis for many of these rallycross and rally cars, right?
That's right. It's amazing to think that a car originally intended for the street could be transformed into such a potent competition machine. It speaks to the inherent strength and quality of the 6R4's design.
It's like this car had multiple lives. A road car, a rallycross car. It defied categorization, which I think adds to its mystique.
Absolutely. And it's that versatility,
Right.
along with its underdog story and visual appeal, that helps cement its place in motorsport history. This wasn't just a car for the elite. It was a car that was accessible to enthusiasts of all levels.
It almost democratized motorsport, wouldn't you say?
I think that's a great way to put it. And it's that accessibility, coupled with its undeniable coolness, that's made it such a desirable collector's item today.
Yeah, try finding a pristine 6R4 for sale these days. They're like gold dust.
Right. It's a testament to the enduring appeal of this car. It's not just a machine. It's a symbol of a time when rallying was raw, exciting, and full of character.
And it's that character that continues to draw people to the 6R4,
Yeah.
even decades after its heyday. It's a reminder of a golden era of motorsport.
It is, and it's more than just a visual icon. Remember, we're talking about a car that was designed and built in Britain, a car that competed against the best in the world, and flew the flag for British engineering.
Right. At a time when the British car industry was facing some tough times, the 6R4 was a beacon of hope, a reminder that Britain could still produce world-class performance cars.
It tapped into that sense of national pride, and I think that still resonates with people today. The 6R4 is a reminder of a bygone era when British cars were at the forefront of motorsport.
And it's not just about nostalgia. The 6R4 story has lessons for us even today.
Oh, absolutely. It reminds us that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges, with a bit of ingenuity and a lot of determination, you can achieve extraordinary things.
It's a story of defying expectations, proving the doubters wrong, and never giving up on your dreams.
Exactly. And those are values that resonate with anyone who's ever had a passion for cars, for motorsport, or even just for pushing the limits of what's possible.
But as we've been exploring, the 6R4's legacy is a bit complicated. It's a car that's often been labeled a failure. What do you make of that?
I think it's a lazy and ultimately inaccurate label. The 6R4 may not have achieved the same level of success as some of its Group B rivals, but to call it a failure is a gross oversimplification.
We've seen how its story extended far beyond Group B. It was a car that found success in other forms of motorsport, that inspired countless drivers, and that continues to be celebrated by enthusiasts all over the world.
It's a car that deserves to be remembered for its achievements, not just its shortcomings. We need to reframe the narrative around the 6R4.
So how do we do that? How do we move beyond the failure label and give this car the credit it deserves?
I think it starts by acknowledging the challenges it faced, both in its development and in the highly competitive world of Group B rallying.
Let's not forget, it was going up against some of the most iconic and successful rally cars of all time.
Exactly. And despite those challenges, it achieved some impressive results. Remember that third-place finish on its debut at the RAC Rally? That was a remarkable achievement, considering the competition.
And those 5 national championship wins in 1986, that's not something to scoff at.
Exactly. Those wins prove that the 6R4 was a truly capable car in the right hands. It may not have been a consistent world championship contender, but it was still a force to be reckoned with.
And then there's the whole legacy of its engine, living on in the Jaguar XJ220. That's not something you can say about many rally cars.
Yeah, it's true. It's a testament to the ingenuity of that V6 design. It was truly a unique engine for its time, and it's fantastic that it found a second life in such a prestigious and iconic car.
So instead of viewing the 6R4 as a failure, perhaps we should see it as a car that triumphed over adversity.
I think that's a much fairer assessment. It's a car that embodies innovation, determination, and the relentless pursuit of excellence.
It's a car that deserves to be celebrated, not denigrated. And its story, even with its ups and downs, is a reminder that even the most unlikely of cars can achieve extraordinary things.
It's a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the unwavering spirit of those who dare to dream big.
It's a story that, even today, continues to inspire. And we'll be right back with part 3 of our deep dive to explore just how enduring this legacy truly is. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the MG Metro 6R4. We've covered the engineering, the rallying career, the rallycross scene, even its surprising connection to the Jaguar XJ220. But there's one more aspect to the 6R4 that we need to unpack, its cultural impact.
Yeah, you're right. Some cars are just cars. They get you from A to B. But then there are cars that transcend that, becoming, cultural icons, symbols of something bigger. The 6R4 definitely falls into that second category.
Definitely more than just a car. It represents something. But what is it about the 6R4, even decades later, that still captures the imagination?
That's a good question. I think it's a few things. First, there's that whole underdog story. This little unassuming city car turned into a fire-breathing rally monster.
Yeah.
People love that kind of David versus Goliath narrative.
Yeah, it wasn't just an underdog. It was a successful underdog. It might not have dominated the World Rally Championship, but it scored some impressive victories and ruffled a few feathers along the way.
Punched well above its weight, that's for sure. And I think that defiance of expectations is a big part of its appeal. It's a car that embodies that spirit of never giving up, of proving the doubters wrong. It resonates with that part of us that wants to see the little guy succeed.
Yeah, I can see that. And you can't deny the cool factor. I mean, the 6R4 just looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It's got that aggressive wide body stance, those huge air intakes, the spoiler, the whole rally car aesthetic just screams performance.
Absolutely. It's a head turner, no doubt about it. Even people who aren't into cars can appreciate the visual impact of the 6R4. It's just got that it factor.
And that visual impact has made it a mainstay in car culture. It's been featured in countless photos, videos, video games. It's almost like it's become a character in its own right.
Totally agree. It's become a part of popular culture. You see it on posters, T-shirts, even in movies. The 6R4 has transcended its motorsport roots and become a genuine cultural icon.
Yeah, it's not something many rally cars, or cars in general, can claim. Why do you think the 6R4 lends itself to this kind of cultural significance?
Well, we've already talked about the visual appeal, the underdog story, the
Right.
connection to a legendary era of rallying, but there's also something about its Britishness that resonates with people, especially in the UK.
Yeah, you're right. That patriotic factor plays a big role. This was a car that was designed and built in Britain that went toe-to-toe with the best in the world and really flew the flag for British engineering.
Exactly. And let's not forget, this was at a time when the British car industry was facing its share of challenges. The 6R4 was a shining example of what was still possible, a symbol of national pride.
Yeah, it was a reminder that Britain could still produce world-class performance cars. And I think that sentiment, that pride, still lingers today. The 6R4 evokes nostalgia for a time when British cars were at the forefront of motorsport.
For sure, it's a link to a bygone era, but it's also a source of inspiration for the future. The 6R4 shows us that it's possible to achieve great things, even when the odds are stacked against you. It encourages us to dream big, to push the boundaries, and to never give up on our passions.
That's a powerful message, and one that continues to resonate with car enthusiasts all over the world. It might not have been the most successful rally car of its time, but it's definitely one of the most memorable and enduring.
Agreed. It's a car that captured the hearts and minds of a generation, and its story continues to inspire and excite us today.
Yeah, it really does. It's a testament to the power of passion, innovation, and the enduring appeal of a truly unique and exciting car. Well, on that note, I think we'll bring this deep dive to a close.
It's been a pleasure exploring the fascinating world of the MG Metro 6R4.
It has, and we hope you've enjoyed this journey into the history, the engineering, and the cultural impact of this incredible machine. A car that was so much more than just a city car with a rally sticker on the side. Thanks for listening to Vintage Car Chronicles, your daily dose of classic car goodness. And be sure to join us tomorrow for another exciting episode.